In regards to what Hollywood is going through right now in the interesting year of 2023, it's not looking good. Hollywood writers and actors are on strike as of me typing this script in what is called the 2023 Writers Guild of America strike and the 2023 SAG-AFTRA strike respectively, for what is otherwise called the 2023 Hollywood labor disputes. The reason for this basically boils down to said writers and actors not getting the respect nor pay that they deserve, and worries in regards to what the artificial intelligence, or AI for short, technology that we have now will do to them and their future in the entertainment industry and stuff along those lines. Because of what is happening right now, multiple projects are getting delayed. Actors won't show up to the premieres for their newest movies that they starred in. Said actors won't do interviews for said movies being released, and actors and writers won't do any more work until this all blows over. For me personally, as I am writing this script, I hope that the upcoming Disney animated movie Wish won't get delayed out of the 2023 because of what's happening right now due to that film celebrating the Walt Disney Company's 100th anniversary this year. I hope the upcoming Sony Spider-Man movie Madam Web stays in its current release date of February 14th, 2024, or Valentine's Day in case you folks out there somehow didn't know, and it's actually good. I also hope that the upcoming Sony animated movie Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, with that movie being delayed indefinitely because of the strike happening right now, will reference the events of the upcoming Madam Web movie, just like how Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse referenced the events of Spider-Man No Way Home that happened in between that film and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, because of the multiverse of Spider-Man characters that we're dealing with right now. And I hope that Kevin Feige's Marvel Cinematic Universe multimedia franchise will not suffer too much for the strike currently happening right now, nor would it screw over their plans for its multiverse saga, possibly beyond that we are dealing with as of right now. I mean, with all the news of the animators in Hollywood being exploited for a profit right now, one has to wonder if we'll ever see an animator strike sometime in the future, or some miracle will happen that would hopefully allow said animators to animate at their own pace as we speak. I had no idea that the Teen Titans Go episode, A Little Help Please, was actually based on what is happening in reality right now until some time after I reviewed it. What a bummer this is. This is all the fault of the very aggressive schedule that I wish would calm down in real life so the animators would regain control. This is why we need to support the writers, actors, and probably animators, while the former two are striking at the moment, so they can be treated better in the foreseeable future. At least the writer's strike saved Breaking Bad, I'll give it that, so who knows at this point. So consider this video, at least as I'm typing the script right now, hopefully timely, as I review an episode of Sonic Boom that can relate to what is happening at this point in time. Yeah, Sonic Boom, that franchise that had 3 to 4 games, a TV series, and other forms of stuff that I'd rather not talk about in this video. With Sonic Frontiers breathing a bit of life into the Sonic franchise last year, I figured I owe that franchise something in return, and hopefully it's a good one. This Sonic Boom episode is called Strike! You know, suddenly I'm thinking of bowling and baseball right now. 3 strikes are out! Let's begin. Once upon a time, on a fictional island of Seaside Island, Sonic the Hedgehog, Miles Tails Prower, and Amy Rose are all fighting the egg tank that Eggman is piloting, while Orbot and Cubot are throwing timed grenades at the good guys. Sonic and Amy are doing the fighting, while Tails is scouting from up above in his plane, while that plane is getting attacked by parts of the egg tank. Eggman orders Orbot and Cubot to fire their grenades faster, to which they agree to after a magic word. When they're defeated once again after a grenade gets put back into the machine's cannon that explodes on impact, and Eggman believes that he is being blamed for his own defeat, and thus leaves Orbot and Cubot to find a way back to his lair themselves. After much waiting and failed requests from other members of the island, they decide to build a raft themselves and paddle their way back home, only for Eggman to get pissed off and at them for being late, as he forces them to go back to the unnamed village. Yes, that is literally what the village on Seaside Island is called. Don't at me, bro. To get the 100 decorative rocks for his garden that we probably don't know about, but I could be wrong. Anyway, after paddling back to the land, they start to drag sacks of those rocks back to the lair, to which Amy suggests to them that they should go on strike if Eggman abuses them any further. At first, Orbot and Cubot don't think it's a good time to strike since Eggman needs his rocks. However, after being exhausted from taking 18 hours to make it back to the lair with the rocks that he wanted, and them wanting a break and him wanting said rocks returned after taking so long, Orbot and Cubot finally snap and decide to fully go on strike just outside of Eggman's lair. Eggman himself at first believes that they will not last long striking, but after accidentally breaking his coffee-filled coffee mug and failing to get his other robots to clean up his mess because he's too lazy to just do it himself apparently, he insults them, forcing them to join Orbot and Cubot on strike as well one by one. Eggman eventually realizes that he can't run the lair by himself, so he hosts a job fair to hire 3 new employees named Wolfie, Mike the Ox, and Fastidious Beaver after promising high salaries. When he leaves with his new employees, Sonic and Amy assume that they're being kidnapped and race to Eggman's lair to save them, in quotes. After the trio of employees clean up Eggman's mug mess, Sonic and Amy arrive at the lair for a rescue, but they can't disturb the robots currently striking at the moment. Eggman himself takes Wolfie, Mike the Ox, and Fastidious Beaver out for some ice cream, and Sonic and Amy realize that they don't need saving after all. Then they argue over what to do with the ice cream vendor's cart before Sonic arrives for Eggman in order his new minions to attack him, only for Sonic to do a black bar's glare at them, which is apparently enough to scare them off, which makes Eggman flee back to his lair in terror. Meanwhile, all the robots are losing hope that they will win the strike. When Amy tries to keep their spirits high, Orbot worries that they have been replaced forever, that they seem to have lost the strike, and Cubot wishes that the robots to practice their groveling to try and win. Eventually, Eggman arrives back and wants them back after feeling guilt over what he has done. But first, Orbot and Cubot make a deal for Eggman to agree to for the robot's benefit, to which he accepts. With the strike finally over, he and his robot minions head back into the lair in celebration. But Amy is still stranded on their island and wonders how to get back home. So she has no choice but to paddle her way back to her island on a raft that Orbot and Cubot built and used earlier instead of, maybe calling Sonic and Tails? I'm pretty sure that would have given her a ride back home. Come on now, use your brain, dumbass. Anyways, that's the episode. God, can the end of the real-life strikes that are happening right now come soon enough? Good! One thing I like about this 11.5-minute cartoon is how it teaches kids about how the workers that tend to be abused by the higher-ups that are not only treated the way they're not often treated the way they should be treated in a challenging environment. This episode is trying to warn kids about whatever workplaces they dream to work in will probably take advantage of them, and encourages them to stand up for what they believe in, to not let their future jobs get to them. And like I mentioned before, this subject matter is more relevant today than it was when this episode first came out, given how the 2023 Hollywood labor disputes have yet to be finished as of me typing this script. What a shame, because Friday, August 4th of this year looks like it was going to be hopes for the strikes, but I guess that's what you get for getting your hopes too high. At least UPS got their strike averted, so there's that. I even like how Amy Rose is supportive of what Eggman's robots are fighting for, even though they usually attack our heroes on a regular basis. The animation and visuals are good here, given the fact that Sonic Boom is a high-definition show. The voice acting is still good overall. Even like the bit where Sonic glares at Eggman's new villagers with black bars appearing from the top and bottom of the screen on his eyes for that bit to scare them away. Not only was it humorous, but also shows how strong Sonic is and how weak the villagers are, considering that they don't have any powers nor weapons to fight him, but Sonic does. Yay! The pacing is not that bad, honestly. At least I wasn't bored watching it, all things considered. I like the Lawrence of Arabia music score that plays whenever characters are sadly crossing the water on a raft, emphasizes how hopeless they are in these situations. So much for aircraft vehicles, wouldn't you say? The one action scene in this whole cartoon is not that bad to witness, even though it was short. They'll remind me of that in the next section. The characters are well written overall. I even like how Eggman is so dependent on his robot minions that he's too lazy to clean up his mess himself. That's the joke. Get it? I also like the comedic way the strike escalates by having more and more of his robots join Orbot and Cubot, all because they're unable to clean up Eggman's mess when he could have just done it himself. Oh, and the dialogue is nice as well, so there's that. Now, the following couple of complaints I have with this episode are ones from a YouTube user by the name of Virtuoso Girl in her CinemaSins parody video series called Boom Sins. In her YouTube video, Everything Wrong with Sonic Boom, strike in about 4 minutes. If you want to check it out yourself, there should be a link in the description. Here's what the complaints are. Why is Tails flying over the egg tank battle when he could have just been fighting it with his friends? Why are Knuckles and Sticks Where are Knuckles and Sticks during the events of this episode, excluding the title sequence, of course? Cubot's shade of yellow differs in this episode. By the way, it is also stated in the Sonic Wiki, which I'll get back to. Link to that is also in the description in case you're curious though. Why do Orbot and Cubot wait for the magic word to obey Eggman's orders when it was already established in the meteor that they were programmed to only obey orders after being threatened? So what gives here? Wiki, by the way. Also, in Dude, Where's My Eggman? Orbot and Cubot got back to Eggman's lair just fine without any kind of transport. What, did Eggman himself remove their ability to float above water? Because if so, why wasn't that established earlier? And why did he remove that supposed feature to begin with? Were they being punished for something bad they did? What was that? Also, the Goga Butt Chief has a land vehicle with obvious wheels on it, yet the two robots ask him to ride to Eggman's lair on another island across salt water. What made these two think that this land vehicle can somehow fly? Also, another thing is that Soar the Eagle's jet should be at the bottom of his pack if he's supposed to be hovering, not on his back. And his eyelids are a little brighter than usual, like what the wiki said. Just saying. Even Cubot points this out. Did Eggman really want Orbot and Cubot to suffer some more? That's pretty sadistic of him, if you know what I mean. And by the way, pointing out your problems does not make them go away. Also, while I do support the robots currently on strike, how many people actually see it and know about it, since only Eggman and his robots live on their island? At least they're lucky that Amy's there to join the fight. Why can't Burnbot nor Obliteratebot talk when this episode established them having voices? Another thing is that if Eggman is too lazy to pick up the mug mess himself, why can't he just use Vacuum Bot to do it for him? Why is the latter bot and Mega the same size when they seem to have different sizes in the show? It's been a while since I watched Sonic Boom. Just thought I'd address that. Also, the Rompus rooms are used for leisurely activities, not to serve someone, Eggman. Of course, why would any of the villagers work for you when you seek to destroy them? Also, no speed trail when Sonic runs, like the wiki also stated. Also, when the robots offer a deal for Eggman to agree on, one of these conditions is to be paid maternity leave, except that they're male and robots, so they couldn't have had any baby whatsoever. Not to mention, at the end, where Amy is paddling on Orbot and Cubot's raft back home, why can't she just call Sonic and Tails for a lift? Is her communicator's batteries dead? And finally, where did she get a life jacket for that raft? Okay, Boomston's video over. There's also a couple more errors from the Sonic Wiki that I have yet to address. Sonic's running sound appears and disappears at one point with no reason at all. Cubot's body clips through a motor bug in one striking scene. In Let's Play Musical Friends, Orbot and Cubot also got fed up with Eggman's behavior prior to the episode I'm reviewing right now. Why didn't they strike then? Oh yes, they can stop a computer virus. My bad. Also, an Orbot Obliterated bot is larger than Mega, apparently, even though Eggman stated that the latter is bigger than the other robots. Okay, now that that's been taken care of, let me tell you what I found myself. At the beginning, when Tails' plane is getting attacked by parts of the egg tank, what was the point of that? It doesn't come back at any point during the episode, so why have those moments? Is it to show his plane being vulnerable? But that was already established as far back as the pilot of the show. If Amy can wear a life jacket on a raft, why didn't Orbot nor Cubot wear one of their own to keep themselves safe from water? Is it because they wouldn't fit them as robots? Can the episode just say that, please? Also, why didn't Sonic use the Blue Force 1 at any point prior to the episode? I feel like it could have been useful. Also, why didn't it only allow one bud to sit on it? Right, so the robots would have to paddle across the ocean back home. Lazy writing. Also, how did they build the raft to begin with? And how did they manage to float the heavy sacks of rocks with them on the raft? Shouldn't the raft sink because of that? I really want to know. Where is Rhinebot when the robots need it the most? Also, why do strikers need to rhyme in the first place? Side note, I guess I was wrong about the garden thing, as it was probably introduced in Sleeping Giant. Anyway, one nitpick I do have is that this episode shouldn't be called Robots on Strike, with or without the exclamation point at the end, as a way to sell audience is even more on what they were about to see. Just point that out. The music in this episode, for the most part, isn't anything special, and there's not a lot of music to listen to here for some reason. Of course, how did Amy and the Meteor not hear Orbot say that the robots are programmed to only obey orders after being threatened? If she says this in this episode segment, Eggman has to treat them in a respectful manner. Or did she somehow forget about that over time, and it was only after the robots scratched the final demand of the strike that it dawned on her what was only stated before? It's like the strike never happened. Ah! But in all seriousness, when the Adam West Batman logo appears and disappears, the segue to that should have been Sonic saying, "To the insert air vehicle here." It's a way to make the reference feel complete. Just asking, nobody in particular. Oh, and the humor is pretty hit and miss if you ask me. And the episode doesn't say that Orbot and Cubot built the raft back home at all. We're just supposed to assume that they did instead of finding it somewhere. Good grief. And seemingly no grass somehow. What kind of stick twisted world is this? Wood hates water, probably. So what do we have here? Well, given the fact that this year's writer's strike got resolved, but the actor's strike is still going, even after there was some hope that it would get resolved as of this video's release, I'd say this episode is probably going to be relevant for a while at least. Strike is an average episode that I would definitely recommend watching, given that the 2023 Hollywood labor disputes are still going on somehow, and for some other good qualities this cartoon has going for it as well. But it's highly flawed in the areas including some flaws that I didn't think to bring up as in the virtuoso girl part of the con section of this video. That being, why does Sonic need a vehicle when the Sonic the Hedgehog series has the titular character running really fast and flying in the sky with the power of Supersonic? Does Chaos Emeralds exist in this Sonic universe? Do they function the same or a similar way to the ones in the mainline Sonic universe entries in the franchise? Did Sonic Boom at any point address that? Because I really want to know. What is Soar the Eagle's riding a jetpack for? Huge fuel waste. And Eggman asks where Orbot and Cubot has been even though he left them across the raw water. Did he somehow forget that or what? Some forgotten complaints I do have at the look of Eggman's lair entrance swishes unless they're in completely different parts of the lair's exterior. What is Sonic riding the Blue Force 1 for? What does Gogobot Chief need a card he's riding for? Why are the robots throwing stuff at Eggman's door that closed? Where did they get that stuff from? Where did the cat noise at the end come from? The title card should have been the robot striking to let the audience know what kind of episode this is. And what kind of vehicle did Sonic and Amy ride to reach Eggman's lair and back for the former? Boy, that's a lot, but I promise you it's over now. Thank God! Anyway, if you take out the relevancy of this episode, I would only recommend it if you approached it with caution. But regardless of how you feel about this episode, I think we can agree on one thing and one thing only. People who do this for a living deserve more credit and respect! You got that right, Lord Hater from Wander Over Yonder. I mean, how sad is it that a villain from a cartoon show like that one is actually right about something in real life? He has the word hater in the name after all. I guess haters can be right about something? I'm probably not sure. We're supposed to be rooting for the good guys, right? I just hope that King Magnifico from the upcoming Disney animated movie Wish is actually a villain who is doing something wrong, unlike what some people seem to believe otherwise. So with all that out of the way, along with hopefully the actors strike sometime in the future, I'm gonna give this episode 3 fingers out of 5. Oh boy, that's it for this review. I had a shit ton of things to talk about here. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and or God knows what. I'm the Purple Mario, and ooh, look at this! This video has been uploaded on the same day as the Walt Disney Company's 100th anniversary this year. Here's hoping that their animated movie Wish and their short film Once Upon a Studio are both worth my time in the movie theater when I get to see them there, hopefully in 2023 this year. Fingers crossed!